Hello ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching this video. It is week 2 in the breaking news of 2025, so stay tuned because what I have, some of these stories are pretty cool. Well, I don't know if pretty cool was the right word there. But the first one, I got an alert on my phone from Sky News with an explosion happening in central London. Is it a normal occurrence in England? No, it's not the 70s to the 90s with some pesky Catholics anymore. But they are saying it's not a terrorist incident. The counter-terror sources indicated that the incident did not initially appear to be terror-related. So initially appear. What does that mean, Mr. Counter-terror sources? So the last reported controlled explosion was November last year with a suspicious package at Euston railway station. Euston? We got a problem. Police said an X earlier road closure in place in the vicinity of Regent Street and New Burlington Street while officers investigate a suspicious vehicle. Officers have carried out a number of controlled explosions as a precautionary measure. So there's not really much that's been talked about, and it's interesting because in America, the Cybertruck, all over the news everywhere, everyone was talking about it. We have a suspicious car that got a controlled explosion and no one cares about it. This isn't all over the news. This is not talked about the Americans. It's just interesting that when something like this happens in another country, yes, the Cybertruck was fireworks were set off inside the inside the Cybertruck, whereas this was done by the police. It's just interesting that not really anyone is talking about it. But Met says incident stood down after shops in the Regent Street area evacuated because of suspicious vehicle. But then again, it's non-suspicious. Why did they do a controlled explosion if it... When did it become suspicious? I'm so on... Maybe the guys went, oh, I can't be arsed bloody parking anywhere else. These double yellow lines. Screw it. I'm just going to park here. But it is interesting that this isn't mainstream news with other countries. Yet if this was in America and the police had to go and do a controlled explosion on a car, it most probably would pop up in the UK as like a big news story. I'm just not too sure. I don't think they actually even blew up the car. Officers have carried out a number of controlled explosions as a precautionary measure. Now, you know how I feel about these vendors and whatnot. Purpose and features, get them all gone. So here's the Audi. That was suspicious. What's that behind it? Is that a Tesla behind it? I think it is. Look at the little robot. That's pretty cool though. But essentially it was once again a nothing sandwich. Why is that car, the Audi, suspicious but not the Tesla behind it? I wonder why. Who called that in? It doesn't... It is what it is, I guess. But yeah, that was a pretty nothing sandwich story. Welcome to the news. We blow everything up a proportion, but in controlled explosions while in London. So Newsom, who I believe is the governor, California governor, is the worst natural disaster in US history. I don't think it's the worst. But Gavin Newsom is a controversial figure, actually, depending who you ask, especially to the right, to the Republicans. So the blazes have consumed about 62 square miles of the region, an area larger than San Francisco, with at least 89% of the fires in the largest area, the Palisades, still not under control. You know, the World Cup in 2026 and the Olympics in 2028 should be ready to hold Los Angeles. I read that so backwards it didn't make sense. Newsom also insisted that Los Angeles would be ready to hold the 2026 World Cup and the 2028 Olympics. But I tried to do my own twist on it and it failed miserably. But there's supposedly, you know, water shortages or the water supply issues. How is this happening? How is there water supply issues when it comes to this situation? Surely these people would be prepared. Surely they'll be talking to the environmentalists saying this is a high area for a fire and there should be precautions put in place to minimize damage. America has an insane economy, yet still there's supply issues with the water. They still haven't got this under control. It is bizarre to me that a country with so much wealth do not have precautions put into place where areas are at high risk for a fire. This isn't something that's just out of the ordinary, surely not. And obviously you have winds that put a massive factor into this, which are just gonna spread the fire even further. But it just doesn't make sense to me how this wasn't something that potentially could have been expected. A lack of any measurable rainfall since April last year and a short supply of water has made extinguishing the flames more difficult. Now, I know, is it Los Angeles or California? California. I know they have a drought with water, but once again, you're America. You should be leading by example with making sure that these situations aren't blown out of the water or out of control by putting things in place. You should have the money for this. It just makes you wonder, how did he screw up so much? It's also been revealed that a 117 million gallon water storage complex in the Palisades has also been empty since February for repairs to its cover. Oh my god, for repairs to its cover. Has also been empty since February for repairs to its cover. That doesn't make sense. So 117 million gallons of water hasn't been in storage since February of last year. So almost a year, and they haven't fixed that. There's only one man to blame. That is a pretty cool picture, though. That is a pretty cool picture. But am I dumb? Why is this? I don't know. Surely you should have precaution in this, but you know what's also, thank the Lord, honestly, thank the Lord, these fires might come under control because America have a secret weapon. Thank you. The Duchess of Sussex. She's delayed the Netflix series to help the fires. Oh my god. She's a true saint. Oh my god. How do we make it more about her? Let's delay it to have more publicity on us. Make sure you get that in the title, Sky News. Let's make sure we get it in the title, because apparently if I release my stuff now, it's gonna look bad. But if this didn't happen and we released it and we forgot about all the wars, Ukraine war, the Israel-Palestine war, you know, the African inter-squabbling wars, the Middle East, what's happened in there, the poverty, the child slavery and slavery in general, and, you know, domestic violence. But because this happened, the Duchess has said, we'll delay it. The fires have no match against the power of the Duchess, because she'll go up to those fires and go, I don't want any attention. No, don't give me any attention. No, I don't want any attention. No, please, no attention. Oh no attention, please, no attention. And the fires will just start disappearing backwards. And then she'll turn around and be like, now, Monday, 10 p.m, my TV show on Netflix about how I'm a normal person airs, 10 p.m, Netflix. Crazy. Who cares? No one. Who gives a flying toss about what this knobber has to say or this knobber has to say? What influence do you have? You have no influence. Stop. No one cares. No one cares. What are you doing? Yeah, it's cool that, you know, you comfort the volunteers and hand out food to evacuees during the visit, right? Sound. Don't give a shit. Don't care. You're doing my fucking head in. But yeah, the fires will come under control, people. Meghan Markle's on the case. Look how cool that American drone is. That is insane. I wonder how big that actual drone is. So American drones are RF based to cause chaos for holidaymakers on vital UK flight path. I find it interesting that everyone's going mental in America about the drones flying across. And then they go, you know what? Fuck United Kingdom. Get our drones over there. But it is Birmingham International Airport. Can you just bomb the whole of Birmingham, please? In Minecraft, not in real life. But yeah. So this is what they're doing. I don't know why they're flying across here. Let's actually read it before I even say anything. So it just seems that they've been given these drones and they need to fly them, which means that is going to cause havoc. I think it said 2 to 3 times per week. Why is it that they have to fly over the United Kingdom? What is that they're going to achieve exactly? Why do they need to do that? Then of course CO2 emissions. Oh. Yes, everybody that's so worried about CO2 emissions while ordering their really cheap clothes from a very safe and very beautiful workplace in the great leadership of China, Shine or Sheen. I messed up the word. But goddamn, these CO2 emissions. Oh, we can't be having this. So it serves as a preferred bomber forward operation location in Europe. So that's why. After World War II, we essentially bent over backwards for America. It's just like, we'll give you every land, please. Please, every land, America. Because for some reason, we became really poor. Which is brilliant. So it's just general tests, I guess, to try to combat any invasion of Europe, but that means disrupting holidaymakers. And when you get an angry Brit, oh, you should see them in Benidorm. I've never been, but I've heard some stories. But these things can't actually avoid planes for some reason. They're unmanned, so someone could just hack them. Thatcher EMP out. What about if Mozzie hacks a drone? We're screwed. The Australians have got us by the balls, but then Thatcher EMP. I don't know. It's siege logic. Yeah. America complained about drones in their vicinity, and then it was like, we're gonna go and tickle the UK. So that's brilliant. But then Trump also talked about the drones in the US.
Very suddenly. Do you have any idea whatever happened to the drones?
What happened to drones?
Well, you had said that you knew.
What happened to drones?
You thought the government knew what was happening with these drones over New Jersey. There were some by Bedminster.
I don't know. They were over Bedminster a lot. So
what happened?
I'm going to give you a report.
It came from my right ear.
About 1 day into the administration.
He's going to do a lot in 1 day.
Because I think it's ridiculous that they're not telling you about what's going on with the drones. And it's not only with me. Glenn was telling me today that in Virginia they have drones all over the place too, and nobody's reporting it. I don't know why they're not. Do you want to say something about it?
Just one quick comment, which is we are home to the largest naval base in the world in Quantico and and the
nuclear reactors in Louisiana. And we brought that attention to the Democrats' death.
And I want to talk about it.
That we not only have no way of knowing what it is, but nobody knows how to deal with them.
They don't want to talk about it, and nobody knows why. They don't want to talk about it. That could be us sending drones. I hope that's the case. Us doing it and doing research, and maybe they don't want to talk about it.
It is interesting that Trump being president-elect doesn't know if it's the drones or not that are American. How is that the case? Surely the Democrats be saying to him, look, it is us. Why aren't the Democrats saying, or Joe Biden actually... I wonder what Joe Biden is even doing. I haven't seen him in the news in ages. Is he even doing anything? Is he just chilling? But I don't understand why the Democrats aren't saying that it's their drones if it is the case. Trump's got a lot of things he's going to do in a day. I generally cannot believe that Trump can sit here and listen to all this. I don't believe it. He must be so bored out of his head. He's probably thinking, I want to go to bed and wake up and play golf. I don't know why this man wants to run for president or why he ran for president again. He is in his late 70s, bless him. It's just like, why would you want to do that to yourself in your 70s? Surely you just want to retire and play golf. Who knows? But it is bizarre that if it is America and Trump goes, it is us, I want there to be backlash against the Democrats. Why have they not said that it's them? And if it is China, he goes, it is China, or whoever it is, and he finds out the answer in a day, because he has a lot of things to do in a day. Apparently he's going to end the Russia-Ukraine war in a day. But if it is the case that they do know, we need to hold the Democrats accountable. We need to literally line them up and be like, why did you not tell us? Not just let it go. Not just let it go. This is, I hate when the government do this. You know the answers, let the public know. Otherwise, we're just going to be skeptical about it. And I think there was something about the Epstein list. Maybe this is a load of BS, but the judge said, and maybe it's a load of BS, that the public couldn't handle the list. What do you mean we couldn't handle the list? Yes, majority of people will act crazy about it and go, oh my God, like, and make TikToks about whatever. But we have the onus to know that. That's like, you can't say, oh, these humans are dumb, but I'm smarter. Like a 902-year-old judge. Like, are you kidding me? Cool, you've done some law in your life. Brilliant. Cheers that, bruv. But apparently Trump's going to release it. Another one. Mark Zuckerberg says White House pressured Facebook to censor COVID-19 content. Now, this is 4 months ago. The reason why this is relevant, because he was on Joe Rogan. I think again. Was he on Joe Rogan before? Well, he was on Joe Rogan the other day. So he says that he regrets bowing down to the pressures from the US government to censor posts about COVID on Facebook and Instagram during the pandemic. Now, a lot of people are thinking, oh, is Zuckerberg turning right because it's the government, because he realized the left or the government didn't really do him that well, whereas he's seen what Musk has done with the Republicans and actually thought, well, if Musk can do really well, I can do really well. So I'm going to try to talk about freedom of speech, which the right loves. And also the left loves too. As much as they say they want to counsel whatever they find bad, they also want to say whatever they want to say without any, you know, negative thing about them. So it's a Reddit conversation here. So it's interesting that they want to censor certain COVID-19 content. Why do you want to censor that? So we're in a pandemic, so we're getting as close as we can to a communist state, a state that's controlling what we do. We're locked down, we can't leave the house, we can't do X, Y, Z. In fact, in England, it said you can only go out of the house once a day for a walk. That was at a point in England, right? And then you're saying to me, we're also going to censor stuff being put up on Facebook. Why? Can't I just censor the BS that you put out, the government? Then no, I censor. N3P has censored the government. I don't like what you're saying, I'm going to censor you. No, you can't do that. So why is it the fact, especially in America, because freedom of speech is a massive thing in America. America loves their amendments. It's what the Constitution was founded on, by beating the oppressor, the English or the British. And they live and die by those amendments, a lot of Americans. So if you're saying that you're censoring content, to them, it just shows that it's an admission of guilt towards the government, and that these things that are being censored potentially might have truth in them. It also could be the fact they don't want to have negative news going out that are just complete BS, but that's not up to you to censor at all, especially in America. So this was a post from the other day. They done Mark Zuckerberg so dirty there. I wonder if this person's, anti-Trump. During this interview spanning several topics, Zuckerberg spoke about the issue. This is on the Joe Rogan podcast, issues of the government's censorship, and noted this hit the most extreme. I'd say it was during the Biden administration when they were trying to roll out the vaccine program. Now, I'm generally pretty pro rolling out vaccines. I think on balance, the vaccines are more positive than the negative, but I think that while they're trying to push that program, they also try to censor anyone who was arguing against it. They pushed us super hard to take down things that were honestly true. I mean, they basically pushed us and said, anything that says the vaccine might have side effects, you need to take down. And I was like, well, we're not going to do that. Told him to take down things that talk about vaccine side effects. It just goes to the point where we're like, no, we're not going to take down true things. That's ridiculous. They want us to take down the meme of Leonardo DiCaprio. I think that was actually Brad Pitt. No, it was Leonardo DiCaprio, wasn't it? Or was it Brad Pitt? I think it was Brad Pitt with his dog, looking at a TV, talking about how it is from Quentin Tarantino film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or something like that. Okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for this kind of pay, this sort of like class action lawsuit type mean. And I know you have to take that down. We said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down true things. And then at some point, I guess, I don't know, it flipped a bit. I mean, Biden gave some statement at some point. I don't know if it was a press conference or some journalist where he was like, these guys are killing people. And I don't know, then like all these different agencies and branches of government just like started investigating, coming after our company. It was brutal. It was brutal. So, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Agencies were going after Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, is the companies that own them, Mark Zuckerberg, because they were like, no, we're not going to censor content. And they started investigating, trying to find anything they can use against them. Yet if they did censor the content of COVID vaccines and the side effects or the satire, then they would have left them alone. Does one not think? Does not one progress the thought process in one's mind to kind of hold the government accountable for this tomfoolery? This is ridiculous. Biden, it's not Biden, let's be honest with you. Biden's probably really good friends with Trump. He probably daps him up. You saw Obama and Trump, and then Kamala Harris looking at him like, ew, how dare you, Obama? Fucking stupid. It doesn't matter what it is. Did COVID have side effects, or the COVID vaccine have side effects? Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Should we be aware of these side effects? Yes, we should. Should there be the fact that, look, this vaccine you can take, we believe it's going to protect you against it. Not that it's going to protect you against COVID. We believe it's going to protect you against COVID, and we advise you to take it. However, you have to understand this just rolled out. It normally takes several years for a vaccine to roll out. We understand if you're not going to trust it, they may potentially be side effects. These are the side effects that we think there are, and you make it black and white clear. Not that if you don't get double jabbed, you potentially might go on holiday. If you don't get double jabbed, then, you know, you might die of COVID. Well, now that's actually a true thing. If you don't get jabbed, you might die of COVID. But you can't just say, take the COVID vaccine, you'll be safe. What the living Christ is this? Me, N3P, once again giving advice to the government as to how they should do it. You should be clear and transparent as to what this vaccine is, as to the negatives of this vaccine, and not the fact that you have to take it or otherwise you may die of COVID. Or the fact is, if you don't take it, you can't travel or stuff like that. That is so dumb. And you're trying to censor companies by saying the individual Joe, the average Joe, the Jane Doe, they can't post up satire. They can't post up their research on it because what? They're not smart enough? You don't class them to be smart enough? Well, fuck you. You're not smart enough. I guarantee you I can talk to the local councillor. He won't know Tony Ferguson's reign of terror as the boogeyman in the UFC. He's not smart to me. So the fact that someone in a Democrat party is like, well, the average Joe isn't smart enough, but you're meant to be for the people too. Dumb. I don't like this. I got vaccine, but I was very skeptical. I had to get vaccine, part of my job, or I believe I did have to get vaccine. I don't know. I got vaccinated. My dad also had COPD, so I wanted to protect him as much as I can. But my thought process with the whole COVID thing is that I worked in a warehouse for minimum wage. That's like £8 something an hour, and there was like 50 people in there, so not as serious as it was proclaimed to be. Even that, he's gone against the Republicans, 300 million worth of Zuckerbucks, I don't know what the hell that is, but donated to left-leaning politicians. That's insane. So he's kind of flipped. Is it the Dana White effect? Is Dana White saying, look, if you want these tickets, Zuckerberg, you're going to have to support Trump. And because Zuckerberg's big in jiu-jitsu now, he's like, yes, I will do that, Dana. But maybe the fact is, after the situation with the Democrat Party investigating him, or the agencies investigating him, he's thought, you know what, screw this. I thought the Democrats were really good. I've spoken to him, and actually they do a load of shady stuff, whereas Republicans, they seem better. At least Trump, you know, is speaking about stuff that's controversial, and he's controversial himself, but at least he's not lying to tens of millions of people to try and save face and to be a politician. So I don't know. The last story that I want to talk about is I've just taken off. So my finger double clicked there. Maybe the CIA is hacking into my mainframe. I don't know. But the DOJ released its Tulsa Race Massacre Report after 100 years initial review. Now, if you don't know what this is, we can see her. So it took place between the 31st of May and June 1st, 1921, when mobs of white residents, some of whom had been appointed as deputies and armed by city government officials, attacked black residents and destroyed homes and businesses of the Greenwood district. And Tulsa is the place. So more than 800 people were admitted to hospitals. 6,000 residents of Tulsa were interned in large facilities, many of them for several days. So 800 plus 183 seriously injured, exact number unknown, white mob. There was looked to be about 75 to 300 people killed, unfortunately. But you can see here, these are some of the families that were unfortunately victims of this attacking here. You know, 1921 it's not super long ago, but it's also, in terms of history, in events that, well, not history, but in events that have happened, it's very, very long time ago now. Thank the Lord it's not like that. Let's see what the Guardian has to say. So the report came more than 100 years after June 1921 report by the Justice Department Bureau of Investigations. So the FBI blamed the massacre on black men and alleged that the perpetrators did not violate any federal laws. But the DOJ acknowledged that the attack by white citizens on black residents was so systematic and coordinated that it transcended mere mob violence. So after the attack, the FBI and DOJ obviously covered up that black people were attacking people, and then it was white people reacting to it, when it most probably was a bunch of racist white people attacking black people because they didn't like them in their neighborhoods. That's essentially it. A bunch of racists attacking people. Amazing that the article doesn't mention the trigger incident. Here we go. When a black shoe shine goes into the department store to relieve himself, they have specifically allowed him to use the restroom. He was getting on the elevator when he possibly tripped and touched the elevator girl. She screamed and he was arrested. Hundreds of white men besieged the sheriff's office looking to lynch him. When that failed, they turned to the next target, Greenwood, where many residents were thriving. Extreme racism and the KKK fueled rampant violence, including 1 or 2 planes overhead with passengers throwing the equivalent of Molotov cocktails at black residents in Greenwood. Tulsa was actually the first time a plane was used in aggression on United States soil. The second occasion was the Battle of Blair Mountain. What is the Battle of Blair Mountain? So this is where miners were going against agents in the United States Army. 50 to 100 killed, 30 killed, 4 killed. 10,000, 3,000, 27,000. So essentially, I guess miners were angry that they probably were in horrendous working conditions. And once again, that was 1921. Same year as this one. So yeah, so after 100 years, the DOJ have released its Tulsa Race Massacre Report. Insane. I mean, the government lied to you people all the time. It's whatever agenda they want to, or feel the need to lie about that suits them the best. And potentially the majority of the population or the minority of the population. It just depends on civil unrest, I guess. But it's not a shock to me that the DOJ or the FBI at the time lied about it. America then was a very racist country. Probably as time got on, you know, let's say 20 years before that, there were more races then. And then as time got on, obviously it became less and less racist, which is brilliant. But it's absolutely disgusting to happen. They must have been terrified when it happened. And it's just interesting that pretty much all those people are not here anymore. And it makes you wonder that the people that did the massacre, was it worth it? Like, all that hatred, and you're not even alive now anyway. That conscious human being that wanted to do that attack, not even alive anyway. And I guess it reminds me, this person's comment here reminds me of Emmett Till. This here. Being falsely accused, I think, of attacking a woman or something like that. Ended up being like 2 men, white men, that did it, and he was like the youngest kid to be executed with the electric chair. I think it's something like that. Dark times for America, but I guess brighter times now with the old Trump man in power. But just question stuff with the government. Question everything. If you go to university, you should question every article. That's what they tell you when you reference something, to question every article. Where did it come from? Who wrote it? Where's their citations? What are they referencing? What are they inferring? So, yeah. This is the week 2. Week 2 of 2025 of the news. This has been N3P. I will see you next week, next Monday, for week 3 of the news. Hopefully there's some positive stories. Hopefully I don't see Meghan Markle again. Stay out the news, Meghan Markle. Been N3P.